the top here to make, when you make the copies, for it to be safer, just so that it basically backs up a copy for you as you're when you're going to edit and things like that, so you're not actually editing the original copy. Let's see if there's anything else here we need to change. We can leave everything there the same. Here, this is the temporary directory. Now this is where your temporary files will be done as you're doing your editing and things like that. You see here I've got 6.3 amount of space, of free space there. That's a substantial amount of space, for what we're doing. If you want to, you can always change this to another hard drive or something like that if you have for your temp file. And you would do that by clicking here and then just changing that yourself. Now if we go back over here, as far as the interface, you don't need to change anything there. You don't need to change any of the themes. There's nothing there in the batch you need to do, or mouse to change. So since we've done that, you can go down here to the bottom and click OK, and that's saved everything for us. So then what we'll do is you're going to need to do some test recordings to see if your volume levels are too high and things like that. Now there's some little quirks in this program that I don't really care for. I use in other programs to actually do my podcast and stuff, but this is a great program for quick and easy things. If I've ever sent you an audio comment, say if you sent me an email, this is the program I use. This is something you can really easily, quickly do a comment. And the reason I do like audio comments that way is just so that it makes it so much easier for someone to get the idea of what you're talking about. Sometimes people take emails sometimes out of context, and if they can actually hear the person's voice trying to explain, sometimes people take emails the wrong way. I know I've taken some emails the wrong way from people, and I just think an audio comment is so much easier and better. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on record here really quick, and I'm going to click on pause because I want to show you something. So I'll click record and then I'm going to click pause. And the reason I've done that is because you'll notice that if in your audio box that comes up, you're going to see this wave here. I like to be able to see, because I've listened to some podcasts and things on audio engineers and things like that, I like to see everything in dB. So I want to be able to see the representation of the wave in dB. So I'm going to click right here on the audio track, and I'm going to change it to wave dB, waveform dB. And that way I'm seeing this waveform in dB format. Now I'm going to move this down. You're not going to be able to see what I'm doing here, but I'm going to stretch that box out farther and farther and farther and farther and farther, because I want you to be able to see the dB. Now in digital audio, it's very important that this 0 point here, you do not clip the audio. Clipping audio is where you're exceeding that 0 dB. So for a lot of times when you're recording something for me and you're going to need to adjust maybe the way you're speaking, trying not to go up really high and really low, trying to do a constant. If you listen to my voice, it's pretty constant in a period of time, and not try to go above really this -5. I would actually suggest keeping it between, say, -6 and -20 if you can. -10, -12 is fine, because after you've sent me the file, I can always increase the volume to where I need it to be. But it's very hard to get back anything after you've clipped audio, because basically when you're clipping audio, you're just basically losing anything past 0 dB. So I'm going to go ahead and click on record at the top here, and you'll see when I click on record up here, then you're going to start to see, well, I got to click on pause because I paused it, that's right. Unpause it, and then you're going to see that you're going to see a waveform now creating as I'm talking. And as if you look at the way I'm talking and the way I've got it set, everything, I've gotten peaks about -10, maybe a little higher than -10. And you're not being able to see the entire screen here, but this is just a way that you're going to be able to determine what looks good. And once this may be something you have to play around with a little bit, but this is the best way to go ahead and record it, because then once you send it to me, like I said, I'll be able to convert it down and things like that. So then if you look, you'll have little indicators up here, and I'll go up there so you can see that. As I'm talking, you can see that it's only recording, because we're doing it in mono, we're only recording on the left channel, which is fine because that's mono, that's what we need to do. And that way you can kind of see where you're peaking at there. Now you see in several spots where as it just went by, it peaked up a little bit higher. But if you stay consistent with your voice, it should be just fine. Like I said, if you want to, you can adjust your microphone volume right here. Another way to do that is if you're familiar enough with your recording devices for if you're in Windows or if you're in Mac or Linux. This works in all three different operating systems. You can go in and change your input audio. That all has to do with your drivers and things like that for your operating system, but you could actually then change that so that you can do so. The other thing is if we go ahead and stop this right now, you'll notice that if you had said something that you wanted to take out, you could go down here and highlight that little section, and say you made a mistake and you didn't want that there. You highlight it, and we click and drag, and then hit delete, and it deletes it for you. So if you misspoke, you don't have to really stop and re-record everything. Just correct yourself, and then go back and select drag and delete, and you take it right out of there. So now, since we've done our recording, and now what we need to do is we need to save this recording. Let's go up to File. Now, you would think, I'm going to save. Well, actually, in this program, you're going to export. You're going to export the audio in a WAV format. WAV format is an uncompressed. That's basically the quality of CDs. So you're going to save it in a WAV format. That's what CDs use. And so we're going to go down here to export. And then you're going to see a box that comes up, and you're going to tell it where you want to save it at. But as you see, we don't want to save it here as MP3. We would like to save it as WAV. Then you would go ahead and give it a name. Remember where you saved it at. I would normally save that to my desktop. Once you've done that, you would go ahead and click Save, and then you have the file saved. I'm going to cancel that out because now we have a WAV file you've created that I can use. Now how are you going to get that file to me? Because it's such a big file. Well, I'm going to show you a little program. It's not even an extra program, it's a website that you can use to send me large files. And that program, or that website, is transferbigfiles.com. This is a great site because you're able to transfer, as you can see here, up to 1 gigabyte files, which is excellent. And it doesn't cost you anything, it's free. And you don't have to sign up or do anything like that. So once you have that WAV file that you've saved, go ahead and go here, and you would go and select the file you want. And that would be, you'd click, and you'd click, and you'd bring up your file manager, and then you're going to tell it what file you want. And then down here, let me see if I can scroll down so you can see here, then you're going to put in an email address. And for me, you're going to send it to me, so you're going to have to type in mark@gunrights.us, not .com, .us. And that's where you're going to send the file to, mark@gunrights.us. Click that you certify that you own this file. This file is owned by you. You own the copyright on it, so it's personally your file, and you can go ahead and click, and then you'd basically click send it. And then it sends me an email, and then there's a link in that email that I can go in and download that file for you, because majority of different services, email services, don't allow you to send huge files. And like I said, these files can be 10 meg, 100 meg. You know, if you have a long speech that you want to talk about or something like that, say if you're talking about license to carry in your state or what's going on in your local community, it could be quite big. So this is an excellent way that you can go ahead and send me large files.